Chapter 258, The Dead City. This chapter is updated by Novels.pl. Day and night, Jiang Yuochen and Han Ku hurried on with their journey at top speed. The next day at noon, they finally arrived at the boundary of the Omen Ridge. There were majestic mountain ranges stretching out along the horizon, covered with dense jungle. Although there were hardly any people around, huge and fierce savage beasts could be seen very often. We are only half a day's walk to the Devil Marshal City. I think we are safe now. Han Ku heaved a long sigh of relief. Laughing, she said, I remember there's a small town nearby called Ji City, which belongs to the Yantai suzerain. We can take a good rest there. Perhaps someone from the Yantai suzerain and the school of the martial market has arrived at the city and is waiting for us. After pondering for a bit, Jiang Yuochen replied, well, it'd be great if that's the case. But we must be careful. Let's do a bit of investigating first before we enter the city. 10 days had passed, and the news must have reached the school of the martial market. The school of the martial market would surely send warriors over to receive Jiang Yuochen. After all, with his talent, he deserved extra protection by the school of the martial market. And yet, when they arrived at the Ji City, they noticed that something very strange was going on. The gate was wide open, and not a single person could be seen anywhere. Although the Ji City was only a small city, it was not at all bleak. Every year, thousands of warriors who ventured into the Omen Ridge would be lodging in this city to refill pills and trade savage beasts' bodies. But today was different. There was no one in sight. Like a dead city, the place seemed to be devoid of life. Jiang Yuochen sniffed the air and immediately smelled the rotting stench that came from the city 100 meters away. Why is it so quiet? Don't tell me that the evil warriors from the Poisonous Spider Club have already taken over the city? Asked Han Ku confusedly. They would never do something so obvious. It looked like Jiang Yuochen had something in mind, so he walked right up to the gate. After a moment of hesitation, Han Ku quickly chased after him. Upon entering the Ji City, they discovered that the entire city had indeed become a dead city. There was not a single living person could be found on the street. That was because they were all dead. Numerous bodies lay scattered on the ground. Some of them were hung on the roof, and some of them were cut in half. It looked like that they had been dead for a day or two. These shriveled bodies were completely drained of blood. The rotting stench in the air was so nauseous that it made people wanted to throw up. Although it was daytime, the sight was still too horrible to watch. It was as if the city was a gruesome living hell. The whole city. What happened? Even a warrior with psychological quality as good as Han Ku was rattled by the sight. Her face turned pale, and her heart was pounding with fear. Was this done by a ghost? Frightened, Han Ku leaned closer to Jiang Yuochen while gripping the handle of her sword nervously. Jiang Yuochen looked completely calm as he walked up to one of the bodies. He crouched down and took a close look at the two holes on the neck. Jiang Yuochen's pupils constricted. He said, I knew it was her. Han Ku asked, who? Jiang Yuochen stood up and said, have you ever heard that the masters of the school of the martial market are fighting against a vampire now? Well, yes. It is said that the school of the martial market sent 10 masters in the heaven realm, but she still got away. Suddenly, Han Ku thought of something. She said, surprised, so it was her who sucked them dry? But there were at least 10,000 warriors in Ji City. I don't think she could do this on her own. Perhaps she has succeeded in cultivating the blood spirits. Jiang Yuochen said thoughtfully, with the help of the blood spirits and her own power, it wouldn't be that difficult for her to suck away all the blood from the city. I wonder how powerful she has become after absorbing so much human blood. Han Ku turned to look at Jiang Yuochen in surprise. You seem to know that vampire very well, said Han Ku, looking somewhat confused. Of course, I've met her before, and I know where she came from, replied Jiang Yuochen. Han Ku felt a bit shaken upon hearing those words. She asked curiously, then what is her origin? Now is not the time to discuss that vampire. We are in trouble again. Jiang Yuochen stared off in the direction of the city wall. Buzz! A swarm of colorful bees flew over the walls of Ji City. Their eyes, sparkled with lights of wisdom, were staring at Jiang Yuochen and Han Ku. Their fist-sized bodies were 100 times larger than normal bees. Their wings were more than half a meter long, and they have a sharp poisonous sting on their tails. At first glance, It looked like a group of colorful birds flying in midair. There were over 100 of them. "The swift bees," said Zhang Yuochen. Looking at the huge bees, Han Ku said, "Being able to control so many swift bees at the same time, he must be the master among the beast trainers. As far as I know, there is a mysterious man called Lin Xiansu working for the Square Commandery Prince. He was a beast training master. Maybe that's him?" "It must be," said Zhang Yuochen. The swift bees were first-level superior class savage beast with average attack power. They were mainly used to track down enemies, conduct a field survey and deliver messages. An inferior beast trainer could only raise one or several swift bees. Considering that this person could send hundreds of swift bees at the same time, he must be someone who had reached the master level. The power of a beast training master was more terrifying than a normal warrior in the heaven realm. He could easily destroy a city. A beast training master was as powerful as hundreds of thousands of soldiers. He would be the most destructive person on the battlefield. After discovering Zhang Yuochen and Han Ku, those swift bees immediately flew out of Ji City to notify the beast training master. Han Ku said, "Let's run away before that beast training master arrives." "Run? Where to?" Zhang Yuochen said calmly. "What makes a beast trainer powerful? It's his ability to control savage beasts to attack other warriors. The walls, houses, and arrays in Ji City can serve as barriers to block off savage beasts. It gives us a chance to fight back. If we run into the Omen Ridge, we'll be at a grave disadvantage when the savage beasts besiege and intercept us." Han Ku asked, "Does that mean that we should stay in Ji City and fight with the beast training master?" "We can't stand up to the power of a beast training master. All we can do is try to stall for time, hoping that the masters from the School of the Martial Market and Yuntai Suzerain can be here as soon as possible," said Zhang Yuochen. Han Ku finally understood Zhang Yuochen's idea. Staying here in Ji City would be easier for the masters from the School of the Martial Market and Yuntai Suzerain to find them. If they fled into the mountains, they had to face the constant attacks from savage beasts, and the masters might also find it difficult to rescue them. Zhang Yuochen began to check the resources available in his storage ring and took out one after another. 45 thunder pearls, 10 bottles of third-class healing pills with 10 pills each. Among them, there were healing pills and genuine chi recovering pills, as well as power transient increasing pills. 2 bottles of 4th class healing pills with 5 pills each. 7 attacking war maps. 2 defensive formation flags. 5 attacking formation flags. Looking at Zhang Yuochen, who took out a lot of resources from his storage ring, Han Ku was completely dumbstruck. The 45 thunder pearls alone were worth more than 10 million silver coins and capable of destroying tens of thousands of armies. On top of that, there were also pills, war maps and formation flags. All these treasures added up to at least 30 million silver coins. She was a daughter of Yuntai Suzerain as well as a genius. But compared with Zhang Yuochen, she was wretchedly poor. Han Ku picked up one of the war maps and unrolled it. A figure of purple-horned beast, 3rd level superior class savage beast, appeared on the map. According to the instructions on the map, if the map was activated, it would summon 10 purple-horned beasts to help the warrior. This war map alone would cost over 2 million silver coins. "How do you have so many treasures?" asked Han Ku. "These treasures were taken from the warehouse of the Red Spider vessel. They were once the expensive items ready to be auctioned by the Poisonous Spider Club." Of course, Zhang Yuochen did not tell her the source of these treasures. He said, "We need an array to fend off the attacks from savage beasts. I noticed that the defensive array of Ji City is somehow damaged. Even if it is fixed, its power will be reduced. There's only one way now. I'll combine its defensive array with my 7 sets of formation flags to form a new defender array. You should go and put up the formation flags on the wall first." Among the 7 sets of formation flags, there were 2 defensive formation flags and 5 attacking formation flags. The Glimmer Skull formation required the least formation flags, which were 24, whereas the Armies and Beasts formation required the most formation flags, which were 81. A formation flag's flagpole was made of bronze and it was about 7 feet long each. The array master would equip the flagpole with a spiritual crystal to sustain its power. At the same time, they wove the flag with spun gold and carved the inscription ray on it. Then, They connected it with the flagpole. As long as the formation flags were installed on the ground according to the specified pattern, the array could be easily activated with the warrior's genuine chi. Among the 7 arrays, even the cheapest Glimmer Skull formation would be priced at 3 million silver coins at the Poisonous Spider Club's auction house, which was equivalent to the total assets of an 8th class family. Not only did Zhang Yuochen need to set the 7 arrays ready, he also had to connect the 7 arrays with Yi City's Defender array in order to unleash the full power of the array. At that time, even if Yi City was not totally impregnable, at the very least, it could withstand a tough fight with the beast training master. Hanku turned into a swift illusory figure and flew over the city wall. She installed the formation flags on the wall, and began to set the array. Installing the formation flags did not require any skills. Any warriors could do it. Even though Hanku knew that the upcoming battle would be more ominous rather than propitious, she did not seem scared at all. Instead, she was very excited and looked forward to it.